So I'm titling this video, How to Learn Calculus Part 2. And it's Part 2 because there's another part corresponding to Math 400. So if you took my Math 400 over the summer, you will have seen this video. And it's just kind of a primer of what I think are the best strategies and techniques for learning calculus for the first time, okay? Now, this is not your first rodeo. You have successfully passed Math 400. So what we're going to be focusing on here is a little bit more technical technical, I guess, is the better way of thinking about it. So I've separated this into four basic categories of things that I think we should focus on for now. I'll try to keep this video fairly short, okay? But yes, the first step is preparing for learning. And I feel like this is something that probably people say but aren't really fully doing. And so let me just briefly go into what is the diagram, the flow diagram for how you're going to be learning in this class, right? So the first thing is, you go to Canvas and you check out what you're supposed to be learning, right? So what am I learning? And there's a couple of different ways of answering that, depending on what level of detail you're focusing on, right? So, for instance, you may be thinking, okay, well, I'm going to learn chapter 6 this week, or not the whole chapter, but some part of chapter 6, right? That may be the answer to that, right? But on a deeper level, what we're really talking about is something more along the lines of how to calculate area between two curves. So this is a task. This is something that is actionable. You can learn how to do this task, right? And that's what you're focusing on, right? It may be one of many tasks that you have to learn that week. And you don't have to keep, a running tab of that, but you may find it helpful to prepare before you actually dive into the videos and the textbook to say, oh, yes, this is the thing that I'm going to be focusing on this week, right? And so just prepare by thinking, okay, what am I learning, right? And then once you have that, right, what are my tasks? So you'll need to watch videos, you'll need to read the textbook, you'll need to do the homework, etc., right? And lastly, how will I check I did this right? And there's a handful of ways for you to do this, right? So first of all, if you're following along with the videos and you feel, okay, I feel pretty good about this, right? Then that's an important way of checking that you are following along, that you're learning. The homework provides you with instantaneous feedback. So that's another way that you're going to check that you did things right. And then probably the most significant one for, in terms of your course grade is the exams and the final. You won't know that right away, right? That's, we have only a few exams and the finals all the way at the end of the semester. So that's a ways away, and you can't, rely on that right now. But, right, that's where we're going. And so, we're going to be operating in Canvas, okay? So the actual learning you're going to be watching the videos that I provide for you, made by me. You're going to be reading the textbook, okay? And you're going to be doing the homework on website, right? This is all working together in tandem, okay? It's not watch the video, then read the textbook, then do the homework, and now you've mastered the skill. It doesn't work like that. And you know this, right? That's why you have to review. That's why you have to, revise your notes and whatnot, okay? So that's all part of part 1, okay? Part 2, how to actually take notes, okay? So this is what I would do. And this is, just personal. This works for me, but you know yourself better than I know you. So one thing that you may want to do, okay, is before you watch the videos, skim the section, okay? So skim the section. And when you do that, pay attention to some important things there, right? So definitions, new vocab, right? Theorems, so important results, and yes, formulas. So I always stress that math is not about formulas. However, math has formulas, okay? So this is part of the skimming in that, you're seeing this for the first time, you're like, okay, so that I see that I'm going to be doing some sort of volume calculation or some sort of area calculation, and that primes your brain for the learning. Once you do that, watch the video. Take notes, okay? So hopefully you've already noted these things, written them down, maybe paraphrased them, okay? When you watch the video, right, follow along with examples. There's going to be examples in virtually every video, okay? We're going to be doing a lot of hands-on things, right? Wherever you see something that confuses you, go back to one of these things. Go see the textbook or try a different example. Lastly, read the section thoroughly and possibly, maybe, rewrite your notes. Rewriting your notes is a helpful strategy because you may have missed some things the first time around, or you want to add something that you've learned in the process that you didn't add the first time, okay? So that's note-taking. What about reviewing? So if we're reviewing, there are a few different things that we can work with, right? So there's, of course, the homework. So redo the homework, additional practice. Revise your notes again, or revisit them. Make flashcards if you want to. That'll be more important for if you're, you want to practice your derivative and integral rules, not so much for, your work calculations and whatnot, okay? Explain what you're learning to a friend. Or a teddy bear. It doesn't have to be somebody who's physically there. It can just be an inanimate object that you're explaining the thing to. And that's a fantastic way of solidifying your understanding, okay? And importantly, I'm going to be providing you with practice exams. Practice. Okay, practice makes perfect. As long as you're practicing something that you've practiced correctly. All right. Okay, and lastly, using the homework to learn. Okay? What does that mean? So ultimately, what is the point of homework? It's not just busy work. Okay? Homework is a tool for you to reinforce those skills. So what you should note is, as you're working through the homework, right, some questions may be harder for you, some may be easier. The important thing to note with homework, always, is what scares you is what you should focus on. For anybody who's an athlete here, so if you're an athlete, then maybe this resonates with you. If there's something that you have to do that scares you, like if you're a gymnast and you have to do some routine, some thing, I don't know the words, I'm sorry. Or maybe if you play an instrument, right? Some chord that you can't get right, some technique that isn't, that scares you because you can't get it right, that's the first thing you need to work on, okay? And the same thing applies here, okay? When you're doing the homework, some things will be challenging, right? And I'm not saying spend all your time on the things that are stumping you, okay? Do not do that either. But when it comes to reviewing, when it comes to looking at improving your understanding, the thing you don't understand is the thing you need to focus on. Now, other notes about the homework include things like don't spend too much time bogged down on a single problem, okay? And ultimately, try to connect the homework to the notes, right? Try to connect it to the video, try to connect it to the textbook, try to kind of make some sort of cohesive thing, body of knowledge that you're creating here, okay? And it doesn't mean that you have to, produce like this very sophisticated notebook at the end of the semester, but if you can pinpoint what skill you're focusing on, that's very important, okay? Because that comes back to, what am I learning? Yes? Okay. So I know this is a lot that I threw at you, but these are just my tried and true observations and ideas about how to learn calculus, okay? Of course, while you're doing all this, right, you're going to be relying on other resources as well, right? Using your calculator, using Desmos, which has more tools than our standard calculator does, using tables, and even other videos, other websites, right? So use the resources that you have at your disposal. That's never a bad thing. When it comes to the exams, you have to be a little careful about that. But while you're learning, use what you have. All right, so I hope that's clear. If you have any questions about this, please let me know. And if you have anything you'd like to add, also let me know. And then maybe I'll feature it